The main objective of this tool is to maximize milk production for the least amount of energy inputs, which in many cases is shelled corn and dairy rations. The principle of marginal value dictates how much corn should be added to the diet to produce more milk. At some point, it's going to cost more money to produce an extra pound of milk than what it's actually worth. This tool will help you figure out where to draw the line at different stages of a cow's lactation. We begin by using the up and down arrows to set the current market prices for milk and corn in the input boxes. Then, as we take a closer look at the graphs below, you'll notice a dotted horizontal line going across each graph. Essentially, this is the break-even point where the value of milk is equal to the value of corn. All values above this line indicate desirable choices, while values below represent undesirable choices. The first graph shows the optimal percentage of corn in the diet for each stage of the lactation. We can see that diets with a lower corn content have greater potential for positive production response than diets with a higher corn content. And intuitively, this makes sense. As I place my cursor over the data points, a blue box pops up with some important information. The top number represents the percentage of corn in the diet for that particular line. The middle number represents the week of lactation, and the bottom number represents the value of milk. Any values above 1 are desirable. In this case, a diet with just 9% of corn will produce a profitable margin up to about 24 weeks into the lactation. For comparison, a diet with 17% corn will be profitable up to week 20. And the pattern continues as we look at diets which contain a higher percentage of corn. The second graph translates information from the first graph into a different format. Here the graph shows the optimal pounds of corn to be fed to each cow at specific intervals of the lactation. Once again, a blue box pops up as I move my cursor over the data points. This time, the top number represents the week of lactation, the middle number represents the pounds of corn in the diet, and the bottom number represents the value of milk. Just like the last graph, any values above 1 are desirable. For example, at week 18 of the lactation, a diet with up to 11 pounds of corn per cow will produce desirable returns. At week 32, though, it's economical to feed only 1 pound of corn. As milk and corn prices change, you can easily update the inputs and see how these changes affect the optimal corn feeding strategies. Before following these guidelines, extra consideration must be given to the effects of extremely low or high amounts of corn in the diet. It's best to consult with your nutritionist regularly to ensure all rations remain balanced for your herd's needs. For more information and to access this tool, please visit the UW Dairy Management website.